Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing, are you thinking about your ex? I provide audio and email coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details, www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing, are you thinking about your ex? So today's podcast is aimed at dumpies. If you are a dumper, or if you're in another type of position when you're listening to my podcast, make sure you subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, because there will be videos for you that I upload in the future. Additionally, I have a large amount of content that you can already go through on my channel, and please remember to check the playlists as well. But today, we are talking to the dumpies. So if you are a dumpy and you want to try to get your ex back, you are in a position where you need to be making the right decisions. If you make bad choices right now, the chances of you getting your ex back are very minimal indeed. If you are a dumpy and you don't want to get your ex back, then you still need to be making sure that you do the right thing so you can move forward with your life and have a successful relationship with somebody else. The main problem that dumpies have is that they excessively think of their ex. And so in today's podcast, I'm going to be giving you a kick up the backside to help you move forward in a way which will enable you to find happiness. You will either get your ex back or you will find somebody even better. But you can't do that if you make the wrong choices. And that's what today's podcast is all about. Helping you make the correct choices by giving you a kick up the backside. I've done content like this before and generally it's been received positively. So I'm going to be doing it again. I'm giving you the kick up the backside and we're going to be doing it a little bit different to how I have in the past. I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pen. You're going to be noting down all of the results to the questions that I'm about to ask. So when I ask you a question, you need to be writing down your own answers so you can tally up the situation of what I suggest you do to let you move forward in a positive way. If you are excessively thinking about your ex, then you are likely to make mistakes. You are likely to reach out to your ex when I highly suggest if you have been dumped, you should never contact your ex again unless they contact you first. If you are excessively thinking of your ex and you want to move on and try to find a new partner, you won't be able to give a new date your full attention if you are thinking of your ex. So once again, you don't want to be thinking of your ex. You want to be in a position where if you start to think of your ex, you think, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. And that is what today's podcast is all about. So hopefully by now, you've got your piece of paper, you've got your pen, and you are ready to write down the answers so we can get the results of the following questions. And then you'll be able to see at the very end what this actually means for you. So the first question I need to ask you is, in the last 24 hours, have you thought of your ex for longer than a minute or two? So have you spent a period of time which is longer than a passing thought thinking of your ex? If you have done, if you've spent more than a few minutes thinking of your ex in the last 24 hours, I want you to write down 5 sit-ups for every single period of time that has happened in the last 24 hours. So for every period of time which has been for longer than a few minutes in the last 24 hours that you've been thinking of your ex, that equates to one set of 5 sit-ups that you are going to need to do at the end of today's podcast. Of course, you don't have to do this. This is your own choice. But let me tell you, this is the medicine that you need. You need to be in a position where if you're going to make mistakes, if you're going to do the wrong things, then you can at least even it out with positive things. And doing something positive like 5 sit-ups will increase and improve your health and fitness, and it will also take your mind off your ex, as well as making you think twice of daydreaming and dwelling on your ex. So for every single period of time for more than a few minutes, in the last 24 hours you thought of your ex, that counts as a set of 5 sit-ups. So when you've written that down, when you've worked that out, we're now going to move on to the second question I'm going to ask you. And that is, in the last 24 hours, have you checked your ex's social media? And that also includes if you've checked your own stories to see if your ex has viewed your stories. So have you checked your ex's social media profiles, and have you checked your own stories just to consider and see whether your ex has actually viewed it? For every single time you have checked your ex's social media or checked your own stories to see if your ex viewed it, every time you've done this in the last 24 hours, that is another set of 5 sit-ups. So quickly work out in the last 24 hours how many times you have done this, and you can make a note for question 2 of how many sit-ups you need to do at the end of today's podcast. So you've already got the first question and the second question. Of course, we're going to be adding this up at the end. So now let's move into question number 3. And question number 3 is, did you stop yourself doing something positive in the last 24 hours because you was thinking of your ex? So did you avoid doing something which would have been good for you because you was thinking of your ex? Maybe you had the opportunity to chat with somebody new. That would be an option you should have taken. But if you didn't do it because you're thinking of your ex, that is another set of 5 sit-ups. Maybe something positive you didn't do because you was thinking of your ex was you turned down an opportunity to play a game with a friend or family member, or maybe to watch a film with a friend or family member. Something which, again, is positive. It's with your friends, it's with your family. It is something which could have taken your mind off things, but additionally helped build your connections with those important people in your life. If you are somebody in the last 24 hours who has avoided doing something positive because you was thinking of your ex, then each time you've done this in the last day, that counts as another set of 5 sit-ups. Please make sure you type in the comments and let me know how many sit-ups you're going to have to do at the end of today's podcast. I'll be very interested to see how many sit-ups people are having to do. So keep a tally of all of this. We've had question 1, 2, and 3. Now let's move into question number 4. So question number 4 is a little bit different. We're thinking a bit further afield than the last 24 hours. But question number 4 is, have you ever given your ex a grand gesture? Have you presented your ex with a grand gesture since your breakup? So this means since the breakup was official, since everything was definitely finished, since the breakup was at a point where there was no way of reconciling from that moment and the relationship was definitely over, have you given your ex a grand gesture? Have you sent your ex flowers? Have you bought your ex a gift? Have you turned up at their door and sang them a song? You know what a grand gesture is. Have you done a grand gesture for your ex since your breakup? It doesn't matter how long that's been. Whenever your breakup was, since that point, have you given your ex a grand gesture? If you have, then that is 20 sit-ups. So make sure you add that on to the list of all of the other sit-ups that you already owe. And let's see how many you've got so far. Remember, keep a tally of all of this. If you have given your ex a grand gesture since your breakup, then that is 20 sit-ups that you need to add to the total. Now let's get into question number 5. And the final question you'll be thankful to hear of today's podcast. Something that, again, you've got to be honest with. And I want you to make sure you're being honest and genuine. Type it in the comments. Let me know your situation. Question 5. Has your ex told you to please leave them alone and you have still decided to contact them? So this means since the breakup, whenever that breakup was, if your ex said to you, please leave me alone, I don't want to hear from you, please do not contact me, from that moment of being told that very clearly after your breakup, have you decided to still try and contact your ex? If you have, then for every time you have done so, you need to be adding on 20 sit-ups. Okay, so for every time you have tried to contact your ex after a point where your ex said, please do not contact me again, every time you have done that, that is 20 sit-ups. Now I want you to add up all of the sit-ups that you owe and let me know in the comments what is the total. Please remember that this is for your own good. Of course, it is your decision if you do all of these sit-ups, but I'm trying to teach you a very valuable lesson. If you make mistakes like this, you are very unlikely to ever hear from your ex again. If you make mistakes like this, you are very unlikely to meet somebody even better than your ex. And if you make mistakes like the last question that I've just asked, then you have a very strong possibility of being blocked, or even worse. If you pester an ex who has asked you to please leave them alone, then unfortunately, after a blocking normally comes from contacting the authorities, you might even get a restraining order. So I'm trying to get through to you, do the right thing. And for everything that you've done wrong, I'm suggesting you do the sit-ups that you've tallied up and worked out how many you need to do. If you do this, it will improve your health and fitness, and it will also enable you to understand you have made errors. You won't be thinking of your ex when you're doing all of these sit-ups, and you will certainly think twice of making these mistakes again, knowing the punishment that you should be giving yourself. Only do this, of course, if you feel able to, and make sure that you do this for the right reason. You're doing this because you want to improve. Okay, I'm giving you a kick up the backside, but this has to come from you. This has to be your choice. At the end of the day, it doesn't bother me if you get your ex back or not. At the end of the day, it doesn't bother me if you find somebody even better than your ex, because I'm not in your position. It needs to bother you though. I want to help the people who want to be helped. I want to guide the people towards happiness that want to be guided towards happiness. I want to support, care, and lift you higher than you've ever been, so your self-esteem is through the roof and you believe in yourself more than you ever did. I want to give you those tools to have a higher value of yourself and somebody who can move forward into the world and achieve their goals, dreams, and aspirations. But if you're getting the basics wrong, then you won't achieve this. I can only help you if you want to help yourself. Look yourself in the eye, look yourself in the mirror. And if you owe these sit-ups, I very much suggest you do them. Of course you don't have to do them, but who are you cheating then? Are you somebody who really wants to push forward? Are you somebody who wants to improve? Are you somebody who acknowledges their mistakes? Then seriously consider doing the sit-ups that you owe. Let me know in the comments how many it is that you're doing, and please give me feedback on the style of podcast that I'm delivering you today. It is very different, although I've done Kick Up the Backside podcasts before, and I have to do it because unfortunately, sometimes people start slacking. Sometimes tough love is necessary, and I will do whatever it takes to get you to a better point in your life. Always remember that with or without your ex, you will have a positive future, but only if you do the work of self-improvement and moving forward. You can do this. I believe in you. Now believe in yourself and get the job done. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.